Hi, Linda. This is Wendy. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I just wanted to respond to your post about the response to children, adolescents, and adults in disaster trauma. Thank you for your post. It was just really packed full of information and well written. One of the points that stood out to me that has really been a core concept in the treatment I've done with children over the past 30 years was that young children especially look to their parents for understanding really their world, but the events around them. I've just seen this over and over again in doing treatment. I've done a lot of family therapy and in-home treatment with children and families. And it was inevitable, or I learned through those experiences that if I could address the parents' stress and help them to be resolve their stress and anxiety, that it was just a given that that would, of course, flow down to the children, and that the children would be less stressed. The family as a whole would function better. So, as I learned that early on, I really started to focus on, of course, attending to the child also, but focusing first on treating the parent and helping them to function better. So that, that really has just been key, in the way I, help clients. So also, you mentioned with this the TFCBT component to address. I'm sorry, you addressed that later in about the treatment, but what I was thinking of is along with that, that supports your point of young children, looking to their parents, and that the parents functioning better will help the children function better. In that, the TFCBT, when I went through a collaborate to be trained in TFCBT, the model that I studied and learned had a component to include a parent or caregiver, because to addressing, and it was again on the premise that if you address the parents or caregivers anxiety, thinking errors, that they are able to more provide a supportive reaction to their children. So that just stood out to me too. um, Also, of course, your source, of course, you quote from our textbook, chapter 13, Cohen et al., that talks about, that this dynamic, that if you focus on the parents, that you also help the children. Also, another source that I've recently studied, J.W. Worden in 1996 did a 2-year longitudinal study, the child bereavement study. I guess it was cutting edge during that time. He wrote a book, Children in Grief, to summarize this, but basically found the same principle that children whose parents were physically and emotionally unavailable had more difficulty resolving their traumatic grief symptoms, such as sleep difficulties, maybe some aggression, um, crying, sadness, things like that. So they had more difficulty with parents who could not be physically and emotionally present, versus children with supportive parents were able to more work through their symptoms much more quickly. So that really has been a more recent study that really I have learned a lot from. So, and finally, I guess just, you mentioned the trauma-focused cognitive behavioral therapy, TFCBT, as treatment. Again, chapter 13, Cohen et al. Really support that this is the most evidence-based gold standard for trauma treatment for children, really for adults too. And so and as I went through the collaborative to learn TFCBT, I was actually honored to be supervised by Judith Cohen, Anthony Manarino, and Esther Devlinger. They oversaw the collaborative, and they did a book, Trauma Focused CBT for Children and Adolescents, and again, just verifies that evidence-wise, this is the gold standard for treatment. Very proven. So anyway, so those are my thoughts. And again, I appreciate your post and look forward to seeing you in class. Bye.